Rather than leading the news tonight with a car crash, a fire, some other tragedy du jour, let's talk about an issue that affects all of Colorado. Whatever happened to the marijuana tax revenues that our state was promised? I'm Kyle Clark. This is next. Nearly every day we hear something like what we did from Debbie. I understand the schools need refurbishing, but isn't that what the taxes from marijuana was supposed to go to? Why isn't anyone responsible to account for all that money? Our politics guy, Brandon Rittiman, is going to try to explain this once and for all.
The people who campaigned to make it legal to buy this bag of marijuana promised millions, and they did deliver. But plenty of Colorado voters may have expected a little too much out of what's in this bag. Don't get me wrong, marijuana is a heavily taxed product. In fact, if you look closely, the state already made a couple dollars off this 1/8 ounce bag before it ever got to the store shelf. This is the wholesale tax on pot. That tax gets paid back here when marijuana is harvested based on the weight. We're going to say this is a $30 bag just so we have a round number. Let's ring it up and see what we pay. All told, you pay $8.47 in taxes on this baggie, an effective tax rate of 30%. It's a heavy tax, and it does add up, but I'm about to make it look very small. In the fiscal year that just ended this summer, the state hauled in $129 million in taxes off of recreational marijuana. And I know you're thinking, that sounds like a ton, until I show you this. $10.3 billion is how much the state collected through all of its general fund taxes in that same year. We're talking about your income tax and sales tax and a bunch more. You can see that marijuana tax only amounts to 1.3% of the total. If you got a 1.3% raise in your pay tomorrow, it's probably not going to change your life. You're not going to go out and buy a house that's twice the size, but you might make some upgrades, and that's essentially what the state is doing. Remember that $2 and change of wholesale tax already in the bag before we rang it up? It goes to schools. It added up to $40 million on school construction projects last year. That's not enough to build a bunch of schools. It mostly pays for upgrades in rural districts in Colorado. We're going to show you one of those projects tomorrow. As for the sales tax, local governments get a cut of what the state collects, but the state kept $76.5 million of that tax in the last year. It's up to the legislature to decide how to spend that money. They've mostly focused on enforcing marijuana laws as well as treatment programs and public health spending because marijuana is newly legal. So bottom line here, marijuana taxes do bring in a bit of money. It's a sin tax though, much like the tax on cigarettes and casinos. It doesn't bring in enough to replace the income tax that the state charges you. Sorry about that. I'm just the messenger. Brandon Rittiman, 9 News.
If you really want to nerd out over this story, Brandon's piece on 9news.com has this crazy flow chart that explains pot taxes in Colorado. This is level 2 nerd stuff. Do not even attempt this flow chart unless you think you can handle it.